welcome. Welcome, friends. Welcome to this episode of Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. I am your host and leadership mentor, Tywauna Wilson. I'm excited to have you in our virtual learning laboratory for another awesome session. So, do me a favor. Come on in into the studio. Come in, come in, come in. Come in and introduce yourself. Let me know where you are coming in from so that I can welcome you on to the show. So, I'm excited about this topic. I am actually bringing you this topic from Leadership Tidbits 1. So, I talked about this in that particular book, and I thought it was a good topic to talk about with you here tonight. So come on in and let me know where you're coming in from. And then we will go ahead and jump right into what I have for you for today. So I'm excited. And just to let you know, the fall schedule is open. So I am accepting mentors for this show. So if you have a message that you would like to share with others, you have an impactful message, a message of purpose so that people can benefit in their personal, professional, or in their business life or in their careers, then make sure that you reach out to me. I would love to have you on the show and to share with my audience. I think it's important for people to hear different voices, to hear different perspectives, and bringing on new mentors week after week. Somebody will land with each person. So come on and let me know if you are interested in being on the show. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get started with what I have for you. You can always jump in, add comments. Please be interactive so that if there's any questions that you have, I can look at those while we go. And I would love to have some engagement with you all. So, all right, let's jump right into it. What I have for you. So, tonight we're going to be talking about great leaders making an impact. So, this is something that you can do. It doesn't matter what role you have, it doesn't matter what your title is, it doesn't matter where you are in your career or business. You have the potential to make an impact with these topics that I will talk about tonight. Are you all excited? Are you all ready? Let me know if you are ready for this. Okay. So before we jump into what I have, it's Tuesday, so you know what that means. There is a new episode of Elaborate Topics podcast. You can check out the new episode this week where we had Sean McNair. He is a cytologist by background. So you can check out his topics. And what he talked about is moving from more than just a job to actually moving to making impact. So this very thing that we are talking about today, he actually talked about on the show. So I will drop the link so that you can check out the full episode. It doesn't matter if you were a medical laboratory professional or not. He dropped so many gems that would be useful regardless of what career path that you might be in. So check it out. Sean McNair, he came on Elaborate Topics and gave an awesome show. This week, we have our September Medical Laboratory Roundtable, where we have the awesome Dana Baker, who will be sharing with us the many faces of grief in the clinical laboratory workforce. So, in the clinical lab, we've had to deal with so much professionally and personally with the pandemic. It really did take a toll on our teams. So, from losing staff members to working short to having personal loss over the last few years to knowing people that passed away that were part of the team that and also as part of our families, it's just been a lot. And being on the front lines of the pandemic, being healthcare workers, there is a ton of grief. And we don't really talk about that. So even through it all, we still had to show up being essential personnel. And so Dana is going to be talking about that at our roundtable. It's this Thursday. So I will drop the link here in the chat for that as well, so that you can go and check it out, get registered. This month, the registration is on me because I think the topic is so important that I want to make sure that people have access to this information. If you haven't joined one of our roundtables before, it's on an amazing platform. It's not Zoom or any or some of the other webinar platforms, but you'll get a chance to participate in the virtual networking. The speed networking might be set up as well. We might even give away some raffles this month. So registration is complimentary. Make sure you go check it out, sign up. You need to sign up because you'll have to register and set up your profile on our event platform. Share with a friend. So even if you are not in the clinical laboratory, this is still a topic that would be helpful for you, especially if you are in healthcare. You'll find tons of value from this session, I'm sure. So go ahead, make sure you get registered, check it out. We would love to have you join us in our virtual learning laboratory. All right. So getting into what I actually have for you today, I had to have those commercials. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you all that information so that you don't miss out on what's happening this week. So here's a quote that really resonate with me, and it says, "Influential people have profound impact on everyone they encounter. Yet they achieve this only because they exert so much influence inside on themselves." And that's by Travis Bradberry. Influence and impact is an inside job. It starts with you. It starts with you having that impact on your life, on your core, on your being, and then being able to exude that to those that meet you, those who are in a circle with you, those who are in your presence and in your sphere. And so I love that because sometimes we forget, right? Sometimes we forget that that impact starts with us. So great leaders have or make an impact. So impact in my eyes is investment in yourself and those around you. That mentorship to bring others to the table with you. Purpose of why you do what you do. Accountability for your goals, for the where you are trying to go. Collaboration with individuals and organizations so that collectively everybody wins. Collaboration is essential. You got to have collaboration. And then transformation of your thoughts and of your actions to move from ordinary to extraordinary. So great leaders make an impact. And if you keep that at your core, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your business, I guarantee you, you will go far. So let's jump back. Let's jump right into what exactly is impact. So I gave you, my thoughts around it, but let's jump into it a little bit more. So that investing in yourself and those around you. There's a quote by John Maxwell. Show me a successful person, and I will show you someone who is serious about personal development. And it is essential to invest in yourself, not just on yourself, because that's easy, right? Investing on yourself is easy. buying a new car, new bag, new clothes. Like that is the easy thing, right? But investing in yourself first and then those around you. So taking that investment and pouring into you. So when you invest in you, that is something that grows and develops over time. It's almost like the whole investing in the stock market, right? So when you invest in you, nobody can take that away. No pandemic can have an impact on that. It's something that grows over time. And when I think about investment, it made me think about earlier in my journey. Earlier in my journey, I'm going to be honest with you, I really didn't know what it meant to invest in myself, invest in my growth, right? So there's studies that show that outside of a formal education or a certification, people don't invest in themselves. Like you will invest in your degree, you will invest in, say, a project management certification, but when it comes to general investment, then there's that pause. There's that pause that happens. And I can remember this early on. I remember I was in one of my first leadership roles, and I got selected for this leadership development program. I was super excited about it. I'm like, I got accepted. This is awesome. The program cost $2,500. It was an external program to my organization. It was a community led program, and I was excited. So I went back to my boss and I'm like, okay, here's the program, here's the details, here's how it will benefit the organization. So I had all of the talking points, and she was like, it sounds like an awesome program, but unfortunately, we can't make that investment. Now, you can participate in the program and we will cover your time away from the office so you don't have to use vacation time. But unfortunately, there's not money in the budget for that $2,500. So I had a decision to make. And I was thinking when she told me this, I was like, wow, like, really? Like, I'm a good worker, I'm dependable, this is going to benefit the organization by me participating in the program. And I really couldn't believe that they were like, no. And with that, I mean, she gave me an option. It was like, well, you can participate in it, but we can't cover the cost of the tuition. And so that decision for me was, okay, do you participate in the program or you don't? And I had to think. I had to think like, okay, so do I participate in this program? Do I pay my money to participate in this program? And it wasn't a matter of having the finances to do so, right? So I had the finances to be able to participate. The hang up was, wait, they want me to pay to be in this program? Like my company isn't going to do it. And really the question that I had, or that struggle that I had, was, here's the real question. It was, are you worth it? Am I worth it to invest this $2,500 in this program? That's really what it came down to. And eh, thinking about that, I'm like, well, how am I going to expect for somebody to do something that I'm questioning myself? Like, how am I going to expect somebody to invest in me? And at that moment, it didn't appear that I was willing to even invest in myself. And so I had to make the decision. And I did. I made the decision to participate in the program. And it was one of the best decisions of my life. And it was kind of a turning point for me, at least mentally, about thinking about programs and courses and classes and coaches and mentors, and that financial commitment that could come behind any of those options. And so that was the turning point for me. And after I made that investment, after bargaining with myself, then I was able to move forward with that. And like I said, it was one of the best decisions of my life. And it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable because I've always heard like investing in, like a formal program, getting a degree or getting a certification, not necessarily participating in a class. But that opened up my eyes to, if I really want to go to the next level and get better, then I'm going to have to make some investments, whether that's my time, my talent, my treasure. I'm going to have to make that commitment. And so my challenge to you, or my call to you, is, are you willing to make the investment in you? Because that's where it starts. That's where that impact starts, right in you. Are you willing to make that investment? So if you are working for an organization and you know that there's leadership development training or career development training, or even, any other kind of soft skills training, or any other kind of training that you might need, are you willing to make the investment in you? I would love to hear from you all, if you all invest in yourself, or if you've had any kind of like, well, I never thought about it that way. If so, you could drop that in the chat. But here are some ways that you can invest in yourself so that you can keep growing. You can invest in going to conferences. And I talked about this on a previous podcast, but going to those conferences. So whether those are your industry conferences, whether those are just conferences around a topic that you're interested in, but invest in going to conferences. And here's the reason why: you are getting current information about that knowledge or that discipline. What's relevant, what could be trending today. And so I recently came back from two large laboratory conferences. One was on site and in person, and one was virtual. Both of those had tons of valuable information. I was able to meet other leaders in that space and talk with them and see what they were doing at their particular organizations. I was able to meet more professional contacts and personal contacts. So that was a great opportunity. I also did a leadership conference that was on site in Orlando, and it was the same thing. I got to meet new people. I got to hear different perspectives that I might not be able to hear in my regular day to day. And so I was able to get that information, which was great. And upcoming, I got a merge leadership conference, and so it's centered around employee resource groups. So it'll give me an opportunity to see what other organizations are doing, how they're leveraging their employee resource groups. And so, and all of these are paid conferences. You don't get a certification or certificate or anything post the conference, but it gives me insight and it gives me information that I can use in my career, in my business, in my day to day. And so that's why you want to go to conferences. Investing in a coach is another way to invest in yourself. Coaches are people that give you or help you with information. So they bring the solutions out of you. So making sure that you have a coach and coach in various areas of your life. So even though I'm in the leadership and career space, I have a leadership coach, right? So even though I am doing conferences and I'm speaking, I have a speaking coach. I have people that can help me get better. I have people that can challenge me to think a different way. Going to master classes is a way that you can invest in yourself as well. So there's no shortage of content and information out there. So you can go to Eventbrite, you can go to, there's meetups, there's tons of people that are offering master classes around certain topics. So that's another way of investing in yourself. Sometimes those master classes are complimentary. Sometimes those master classes come at a cost. So, speaking of master classes, I have this idea that I'm thinking I'm going to create a master class that's around creating your career roadmap. So, if I created a master class like that, would you all be interested in participating? So, I get that question a lot of, I'm not sure what to do next. People have invested in degrees they'll never use, invested in additional certifications that has not gotten them the return they thought it would get them. And so I have a whole masterclass, mini masterclass, really, that will allow you to walk away with a blueprint of knowing your career, understanding your strengths, potential career opportunities for you, things that you might naturally be better at. And so I'm thinking about hosting a masterclass. So if you'll be interested in that, let me know. Give me some feedback on that. 'Cause like I said, I get a lot of those. I get a lot of inbox messages like, okay, I'm ready to do something else, but you just don't know what. And before you get into another degree program that may or may not pay off, it might be to your benefit to kind of take a step back. Also, listening to podcasts and video podcasts just like this is a great way to invest in yourself. There's tons of podcasts out there. There's different styles, videos, audio. I mean, there's no shortage of information out there. Most podcasts are free, but there are some where they offer exclusive content that is for a nominal fee. But the whole thing is to be a lifelong learner. Never stop learning. The moment you stop learning, it's over. Right? People are Just think about it this way. Somebody is graduating every single day from something, right? And so that means they've learned the new trend that's out. You got people like me that continuing to go to these classes and learn from other people. So what happens if you stop learning? Think about it. My mom has this saying that you can't get fed off of what you ate. You can't get full off of what you ate yesterday, right? So you need to keep eating, you need to keep getting these nuggets of wisdom and keep subscribing to lifelong learning. And you can do that via books. So a couple of my favorites, John Maxwell's The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth is a great personal development book. I like it, especially the law of the rubber band, meaning that you need to be stretched. Do not get comfortable. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. So that's a great book, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And Think and Grow Rich. That's another great book that I like as well. A lot of people think it's just about finance, but really it's about mindset. And so those are a couple books that you can read. And one of the books that I'm reading now is by Jeff Henderson, What Do I Do Next? So if you are stuck and not sure what to do, that is a pretty easy read that you might want to check out. So I would check out that. So thank you, Dr. Rosa, for checking in here from Ohio. I love having my Ohio peeps in the building with me being here in the Cincinnati area. So I'm excited to have you on. Thank you so much for joining. And Dr. Rosa also said it sure is having a coach and being one. Absolutely. That is how you get the information and then you coach. So it's that whole see it, do it, teach it kind of a deal. That might come in the form of mentorship. And speaking of mentorship, mentorship is about bringing others to the table with you. So, mentorship is huge. And I like to talk about full circle mentorship. I can remember being in a formal mentorship program. I am a medical laboratory scientist by background, and so I served in a mentorship program with the University of Cincinnati's Allied Health program. And what that program did is it partnered one mentor that's in a particular discipline. So they wanted people that were in some of their majors: medical laboratory science, food and nutrition, radiology tech. So any of the allied health fields, they were partnering graduates with students. And so I was partnered with a rising star mentee. We met when she was in her first year. She hadn't even gotten into the program just yet. And so we met by happenstance. And I was like, okay. She was like, well, I want you to be my mentor. She was actually dropping off some flyers to my office when I was at a Cincinnati hospital. And so I told her about this mentorship program. I said, you need to be in it. And so she said, okay, she would check it out. And so she ended up checking it out and requesting me as her mentor. And we met, it was her freshman year. It was before she would actually get into the official medical laboratory science program. And we worked together to, I mean, strategic, because I had, at that point, I had been a tech for at least seven years or so. I had been in the field of medical laboratory science, working from the bench, being in leadership. So I had already thought about, what makes the most sense for her to do her internship, like what hospital would be best based off of her goals and the experience that I knew she would get. When it came to filling out her application, we worked on that to make sure that she had the right stuff in there to even be selected for the program. And so she did get selected for the program. And long story short, she graduated, and she is a medical laboratory scientist and have been for quite some time. But what I told her is that in order for me to serve as your mentor, and I'm happy to do that, you have to mentor somebody else, right? So you can't just get the mentorship from me, you have to also pay it back as well. And so she did. She went back to the same program after she graduated, and she in turn took on a mentee as well. So that's that full circle mentorship, bringing others to the table with you. Now, let me tell you this about mentorship, because a lot of times people always think mentorship and mentoring is complimentary or at no cost. Now, for some people, this is going to be controversial because you're like, you should never pay for a mentor. Mentors should always be free. Now, if you subscribe to that thinking, you might be left behind. So while it's nice when there's some synergy there and you can find a mentor who's willing and able to commit their time, effort, and energy towards pouring into you, developing you, it doesn't always happen that way, right? And so I have people that I have sought mentorship from because they are experienced in a certain area that I want to learn and grow in. Now, they are not serving as coaches, they are really serving more so as in a mentorship capacity. And serving in that capacity with some of these mentors, it was an investment to be made, to be connected with them. And so my challenge to you is to be open to different kinds of mentorship, because sometimes it may involve a cost. Not always. There's free, there's definitely free opportunities, free mentorship, people willing to spend their time, but in some cases it's not. And so I don't want you to go without having a mentor because maybe the person is not in your area, maybe because the people that you have approached are not interested. Mentorship to me is a non-negotiable, right? People, they may not tell you this, but people who are moving forward in their life, I'm pretty sure they have a mentor of some kind, right? Mentors help you get the information that you need so much faster, right? And so that's why it's important for you to have a mentor. They lean their experience to you so that you can be able to navigate your path a lot faster because you're learning from what worked for them, some mistakes they've made. And so that's why mentorship is a non negotiable. So you definitely have to get a mentor, but it does take somebody that's willing and able to mentor. And then after you have received mentorship, you should give some mentorship back. Whatever that looks like for you, you should give mentorship back to someone else. So I do that through the my professional society. So I am a member of the American Society for Clinical Pathology, and I serve as a mentor in the mentoring program. Now I am at my capacity on mentors through that program, but I have a full community people that is a I have free group that people can get mentorship from me and be able to ask questions and things of that nature. So there are other ways that people can get mentorship from me, for example, in different ways. So mentorship is key to having that impact. Purpose. Why do you do what you do? Right? So that's important to understand your purpose. Why are you doing what you were doing on your leadership journey, on your career journey, in your business? The road is going to get challenging, right? It's not going to be all easy. There's going to be times you're like, I just can't go on. So why are you doing what you're doing? The purpose. So I can remember when I was in the early stages of bringing up a mobile diagnostics program. Our primary service line was mobile mammography. We had a 40-foot van. I didn't drive anything because I don't have a CDL class B with air brakes, but we had a 40-foot van that we would take to businesses. We would take them to grocery stores. We took that mobile van to where people work and live. And so we provided screening mammograms. Our goal was to help women know if they got breast cancer and get diagnosed early in the case that if they did that they do. And so in the early stages of that program, it was difficult. I must say it was challenging. I mean, sometimes the van would break down, sometimes the weather was bad. We could go and do a site assessment at a site, and then when we get there the day of, they change where they want us to park, and then where they want us to park is not conducive to drop the jacks to be able to stabilize the equipment on the inside. And some days it was just like, are we going to be able to do this? Because it would take, a while to even get the van set up before we could see our first patient. And going back to the purpose of that program, the purpose of that program was to bring services, predominantly screening mammography, to women where they work and live, being able to level the playing field. What I have learned being in healthcare, sometimes people find it difficult to navigate a complex hospital. And so what happens? They don't go. And so they don't get this care and service that they need. And so bringing that van to a grocery store, a church, somewhere where everybody is equal. It doesn't matter your background or anything like that. Women were able to get on the van and get their mammogram and get those services. So going back to the why of what you do and that purpose behind it will help you as you are making that impact. So understanding where you want to go and that it may have some challenges and barriers along the way, understanding that why. And so that's the whole deal behind purpose in your impact. And so as you go throughout your journey in life, I'm sure you're going to have tons of purpose in different areas. But knowing your values, knowing your why, knowing your strengths, accountability. Whew, accountability for your goals. Listen, in order to make impact, I'm sure you're going to set a lot of goals for yourself, many of which you may or may not reach, right? And so having that accountability, many successful people have a board of directors or their personal board of advisors or those people that they call on that will be brutally honest with them, that serve as a sounding board for them, give them truth and feedback, no matter, how good or crazy their idea may be. And so having that accountability towards our goals, it's for some reason or another, it is so easy to let ourselves down. It is so easy to give up on our own goals, right? When it's only us depending on it, sometimes it is easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna do that tomorrow, I'm gonna do that next week. I know my goal was to get it done today. But you know what? I'm gonna just do it next week. I'm gonna just do it tomorrow. I'm gonna just do it next year. I'm gonna write the book next year, next week. And now here it is 5 years later, and you still have that book inside of you. Here it is 2 years later, and you still have that podcast inside of you that you've been talking about launching. So accountability to your goals, you need that in order to make impact. When I think about accountability, I recently completed a 6-week accountability partnership. Listen, you can't do this thing by yourself. Sometimes you need a tribe. You need people that can help you get to where you need to get to. And so with that accountability partnership, it was me and two other people, and it was a 6-week partnership. And our focus was just on one or two goals. So not, kind of big goals, one or two big goals that we wanted to have done for in that 6-week time. And every week we met for 30 minutes, and we had a structured time that we met and a structured like agenda that we went through. So it wasn't a bunch of fluff. It was pretty much what is your target this week? What did you do towards your goals? Like, what was the feeling that you got behind it? And what are you going to do next week? So it was that boom. What did you do? What support you need? What was the feeling? And if you had some barriers, what were the barriers and how did they come up? And it was great. It was great because we was there strictly talking about what the goal was. So that big goal was broken down into mini goals over that 6 weeks. And there was two other people to support me in reaching those goals. Wasn't a lot of fluff. We wasn't talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. It was pretty much this is what needs to happen. And I felt like I accomplished more in that 6 weeks having that support and accountability than I have with working with some coaches and trying to do it on my own. And so it was a great thing. So figuring out a way that you can stay accountable to your and for your goals is another part of making impact. So figuring that out, a lot of times you can't do it by yourself. I mean, maybe you can, but most people, the average person, can't do it by themselves. So accountability. And sometimes you need to have that accountability just to have somebody to be a sounding board. Hey, we focused on this one thing. Boom. One thing, move on to the next week or 2 weeks or however frequent your check-in might be. So you definitely need it if you're trying to make impact. Collaboration. Together we are better. That is one of my sayings. I really love that. Together we are better, and we can achieve more together. So with this could be with individuals and organizations. So collectively working together, everybody wins, right? Everybody's successful. And you need collaboration in your life, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your personal life. Collaborating partnering with other people is going to move you so much further. And so that's one of the things that I like to do is collaborate, give other people exposure. Sometimes I'm leveraging their platform, sometimes they're leveraging my platform, depending on, what it is that we are trying to accomplish. So several years ago in 2011, I had the opportunity to go to Rwanda, Africa with American Society of Clinical Pathology. At the time, they had their PEPFAR initiative, which was going to train laboratorians in Rwanda. I went to Rwanda. They had different initiatives in different parts of Africa, but I went to Rwanda and I taught clinical chemistry and lab safety. And so this was a joint effort with ASCP and some other global leaders to bring training and resources to Rwanda so that they could get the information and training that they need to be able to combat HIV and AIDS. So laboratorians came from all over the country to a central training site. They got the training and then they went back to their respective hospitals and their respective towns and cities to be able to train their peers. That was an example of collaboration. We were able to achieve so much more. So, it might have been one of the entities that were a part of that maybe had the funding, but they didn't necessarily have the experience or the talent to be able to do that. They could fund the trip, but they didn't have the experience in regards to laboratory medicine. And so being able to collaborate. I also talk about this when I do book projects. So if you have not gotten your copy of Leadership Tidbits 1 or 2, both of those are awesome collaborations. But those are collaborations in which I brought leaders together to be able to speak on various topics in leadership. We all have our own unique voice. We all have our own unique idea, and we're great in our own respective rights. But together, that synergy of being together and being able to include everybody's experience, their expertise, their knowledge is what made the book so powerful. And so with collaborations, everybody benefited from that, from those that read the book, along with those that participated in the collaboration. So that's why you need collaboration to make your impact. You're able to touch so many more people. So I've written books where I've had it where it was just my book. And the difference is between, an individual book and a collaboration. So individual book, for example, it's me. I'm doing all the pushing of the book. I'm telling everybody about it. I'm doing all the marketing. I'm doing all of the promotion. And so, that reach, may be at 50%. Who knows, of how far it could go. Just throwing 50% out as an example. Well, with the collaboration, if I'm with 10 other scholars, other leaders, and we're all telling people about the book, sharing the information about the book, then we may get together, we might get to 90%, right? And so that's why collaborations are important. It's hard. One is too little of a number to make significant impact. I'm not saying that you can't make impact in your space, but when two or more get together, then the impact is even larger. Does that make sense? Can you relate to any of that? If so, you could leave me a message and let me know. Drop it in the chat. And then we have transformation. So, transformation of your thoughts and actions to move from ordinary to extraordinary. So, you need transformation in order to make impact, right? Sometimes ideas and groups can be formed and they don't even realize that they need something different. So, in it before when I took that role over the mobile van program, the committee that was recruiting for a director of that program, they had in mind the kind of person that they wanted. Right? They had somebody that had a business background, maybe radiology. And so they had in mind what they felt like that person could have. Right. So here I come. I have a business degree, but I have a lab, which is not radiology, which was going to be the primary service of mammography. And so, when I got to the table and I was interviewing and I started giving them information that they hadn't even thought about, right? Some, ways that I could show up in this role by bringing my community contacts, how I could show up because I had that business background, but I also had healthcare, and it wasn't specifically just lab, but I did have healthcare and laboratory experience. So sometimes people don't even know what's missing until you show up. And so that's why transformation is important. That out of the box thinking. In order to make impact, you got to be able to put yourself in environments that you may not be comfortable. And it's in those moments when you start to have that transformation, right? So, transformation of your thoughts, your actions to be able to move you forward. So, transformation is important, and nothing moves forward if everybody is on the same level. So, transformation doesn't happen if everybody is on the same level, thinking the same way, doing the same thing. So, that's why you need that transformation. So, that's impact. So I want you to think about this. Some reflection questions for you, right? Because you can go on all you want and get the information, but you got to have time to apply. Because getting content is great, getting information is great. But when you get information and you actually apply it, that's when you on fire. That's when you start to see transformation. That's when you can truly make impact. That's how you move things forward. So want you to think about this. Think about in what areas of your leadership do you need to invest more? Is that in your communication? Is that in your soft skills? Is that in your public speaking? Is that in your networking? Is that in your finances? What area of your leadership do you need to invest more? And how do you do it? How are you going to do that? So if you say, yeah, I need to be a better at presenting because I'm a manager, I have monthly meetings with my team, and I need to be better at presenting. So how are you going to get the skills that you need? What does that look like? Does that look like going to a webinar? Maybe. Does that look like listening to a podcast? Maybe. Does that look like getting with a coach? Maybe. So you have to figure out what does that look like. So you can't just get the information. Getting the information is great, but you got to have an opportunity to apply, right? So you get the information, you apply it. That's how it starts to stick. You get it, you act on it. So what areas of your life do you need to invest more? Second one is, do you have a personal board of directors? So I'm not saying you need to have this big 30 board of directors, but do you have some people in your corner that you can go to and bounce ideas, that you can go to and say, hey, I had this situation come up, and I know you're going to give it to me straight. I know you're going to, tell me honest and objective opinion. Or I had this come up with a team member that I manage, and this is how I handled it. What are your thoughts on that? Or I'm getting ready to submit this proposal. How would you take this proposal if I was submitted? Like, do you have those people in your corner that you can go to with those ideas? that you can go to and say, hey, I don't really think I'm getting paid my value. I don't think I'm getting paid my worth, but I'm really not sure how to negotiate, or looking at my resume, does my resume speak to the level of opportunity that I'm trying to attract? Do you got those people in your corner that will to give you or help you get to those answers? If not, then that's something that you need to think about. And if you do have those people in your corner, write it down. Write it down so you can say, yep, my person is going to give it to me straight all the time. This is that person. Identify who they are and what role they play in your on your board or in your life. And understanding that one person is not going to play every role. And then what is your why? Should be your why. Oh, you are why. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you wake up every single day and hope to wake up every single day to do what? What is your why? And if you are not doing your why not? What's holding you back? Right? So those are some reflection questions for you to be able to think about how you can be a great leader who can make impact. So just going back to that impact so that you know and you can think about these things. You can that investment, making that investment in yourself, making that investment in others so that you are able to learn and grow and be better and better and better. You are your own stock market. Start investing in you first. Mentorship, do you have a mentor? Are you a mentor? If not, how do you get one? Do you even know what you want somebody to mentor you on? One person may not serve as a mentor in every area of your life, right? I have several mentors. I have professional mentors. I have personal mentors. So, you may have different mentors for different things in your life. What is your purpose? Why do you do what you do? So that when the road gets tough, you can go back to this is what I was meant to do because I need to do this so that I can make this impact. What is your purpose? Accountability. Who's going to keep you accountable to reaching your goals so that you can make the impact that you want to make? Who's keeping you accountable? Right? Do you have a plan for staying accountable? Do you even know if you are accountable? Collaboration. We are better together and we get so much further working together and being together than we do trying to move the needle by ourselves. Of course, we can push the rock up the hill. It's going to take us a little bit longer when we're doing it by ourselves versus if we got others to trade out with us and keep pushing that thing up that hill when we get tired. So, collaboration. Is there ways that you can collaborate, or are there ways that you can collaborate, and who? Like, who do you want to collaborate with? What does that even look like? And then transformation of your mind, your thoughts, transforming you from the inside out, and then transforming others. So, in the way that you do what you do. So, transformation starts with you. That's how you make an impact. Remember, great leaders make an impact. All right. That's what I got for you for today. Does that all make sense? Was that good information for you? Is that something that you can go and apply and start using right away? Because here at Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, we are all about giving you practical strategies that you can use in your personal and professional life, along with your business, that you can start to use right away. We don't want you to just get content and just get knowledge, but we want you to make an impact and go out and be great. And so that when your time is up, when your number is called, you have lived the life that you have wanted to live and leaving a legacy that makes you proud. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. It has been my pleasure to be able to give you a few of my leadership tidbits. So I hope that you have gained some insight. Please share this message out. And my call to action to you is to one, think about those reflection questions and write those down and answer those. And two, share this message out with somebody who could benefit from it. You could be the key to somebody else's door. So make sure you are providing the tool for somebody else to get the information. So I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and reach out to me on whatever platform works for you. Reach out to me and let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them. And until next time, my friends, I hope you have an amazing, amazing week. Take care.